In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at all of our major models. We're going to be taking a look at that European model, GFS model, and Canadian model. Let's just get into things though, and we're taking a look here at our European model. We do have a winter storm expected very shortly here over the Smoky and Appalachian Mountains in that pocket there. And then also we're going to be tracking a potential Midwest monster snowstorm that we've been kind of talking about a little bit. We saw a bit of that yesterday. We're going to see more of it today, and we're just going to be tracking it moving forward. I think the biggest question as of now is how long will the models continue to show this and will it end up actually verifying? As we know, most snowfall events that have been shown anywhere in this area here have very quickly fizzled away, but that hasn't as much been the case the further inland you go. These have not, completely fizzled away like they have in the east. So there is some confidence that this could stick around. We see on our European model that there will be plenty of mixing issues here, especially the further north you go, surprisingly. So Virginia here in West Virginia, more mixing. And then North Carolina, Tennessee, maybe even some mountainous regions of Kentucky and Georgia, could be seeing a little bit less of those mixing issues, perhaps. We do have a very strong low here by Sunday afternoon. I guess a good question of the day for Sunday is who do you think will end up winning the Super Bowl? That's a good question. Um, I don't even know who I think is gonna win, but I am excited to watch the game. I'm a Patriots fan, as you guys know, so my only thing was I just didn't want the Bills to get in it, and they didn't, so I can rest peacefully now. Um, at this point, I could really care less who wins. I do think the Chiefs are an exciting team. Also, the Eagles a little bit newer. What do you guys think, though? I am curious. That will be happening as this strong storm is over the eastern United States here. We see things switch over to more snowfall here eventually for Virginia and West Virginia. By the time we're reaching about 8 p.m., the game will probably be underway by this point, and we'll have a strong low just offshore of the East Coast. There will be some cold air damming, so it will be quite cold in here, but a very cold rain, it appears, is going to be more likely than anything. We do see this move off by the time we're taking a look at about 10, 11 a.m. here on Monday, the 13th here. This will be pretty much going away at that point. We'll follow this up actually with some pretty cold air along the East Coast for Valentine's Day morning. This is about 2 a.m. on Valentine's Day, so very early. And we do see some cold air working its way southward here. And then we see some warm air surging here in the more inland areas. You see how this balance works? We see things pushing up on the western end, and this pushes things down on the eastern end. There's an equal to every piece of energy here going on. We do see some storminess here across the four corner states, the south central United States there on Valentine's Day. We see a stronger low developing over the plains, a cold front developing underneath, and a bit of a warm front perhaps. And this will create a warm sector to the east here, and then the cold front underneath. We've talked about this a couple of times, but this is a tremendous setup for severe weather underneath for a lot of these areas. So, sort of next week, Monday into Tuesday, we do see, well, Tuesday primarily, we see things firing up here for a lot of these areas is primarily where I'd be watching, but maybe even as far north as Iowa and Nebraska getting involved, maybe even Illinois and Missouri. It's tough to say, but certainly Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Texas, and Louisiana, I'd be watching for sure for some severe weather there. And then as we reach Tuesday into Wednesday, we would be watching some of these deeper south areas talking Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, perhaps for some thunderstorms, maybe even severe. We do get a bit of a major snowstorm taking place here as we have two areas of low pressure that might be separated into two, actually. So heavy snowfall here, some heavy snowfall here as well. And that's round one for the upper Midwest. Round two already on the way. We see another potential severe weather event as we have a load taking place over Oklahoma here. Already some storms firing up on the eastern end of things for Thursday, the 16th. And we see quickly this develops into a cold front, warm front situation where we have this warm sector and then we have that very strong cold front swinging in behind. As we've noted, this is a very, again, tremendous setup for severe weather for all of these areas as this cold front swings through because everything's warmed up from that warm front. So it really is just this classic setup that we've been seeing. So that's Thursday. And Friday, we could be seeing a lot of this underneath for a lot of these areas. We'd have to be watching. And I've noted I think in yesterday's video I said it, but I think all the way up into New England, we could see thunderstorms on this date just because the warm front is all the way up here and that cold front is swinging all the way down, the low being right there. So we could see this warm air surging all the way up into Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont. Certainly can't be ruled out. That would be crazy to see February thunderstorms all the way up the East Coast, and then followed up with some snowfall showers for these areas as well. A very intense Friday there. Saturday's a little bit quieter. Sunday, we do see some more storm systems moving in through the west. Again, downstream or upstream, better yet. So these could move into the east with that jet stream. We do see that it kind of begins to trough in the west, and we see these storms rising up just like this. And this creates those cold front, warm front situations. Certainly has to be watched. We see warmer air surging in the east here again, and this has been all winter long what we've been seeing. So pretty much nothing new under the sun, really. As we take a look at the total precipitation, this tells the full story. We see a lot of these storm systems diving southward through the west, so we see heavy amounts here out for the northwest, even for the four corner states here. And then we can see that a lot of this is kind of combining with Gulf energy, so we see these kind of coming together. And this is where the big lows are developing, is in this pocket. But we also see a lot of the storminess underneath for these storms for the southeast, where we actually expect the most precipitation in this area. You can take a look at the color code on the bottom for the actual amounts on screen. But I noticed that that takes a lot of time away from the video, so I'm not going to go through naming them all, but you can take a look at the bottom of the screen there for that information. Total snowfall here on the European model, we see anywhere from about, I'd say 1 to 4 inches of snowfall in a lot of these blue areas. I would say probably approaching 6 inches or more for the more high mountaintops. But certainly there's going to be more of a moderate snowstorm type event for these areas. That seems to be what we've concluded here. Over the next 10 days, the European model does have a very major snowstorm taking place for Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. We've talked about that yesterday, and that is still showing up on these models, especially the GFS model here, where we do get, again, this snowstorm here taking place on Sunday into Monday. We move on and we get another major snowstorm here for the upper Midwest. That's number one. And we see storm number two developing here as well on Thursday, the 16th. We see this low over Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas there. We do see the cold front here and the warm front starting to get going. This is all going to grow and spread here. We do see snowfall up here to the northwest as well. Multiple different factors at play here. And even later on Thursday, there into Friday, we see a very strong cold front at this point, very intense warm front, and even more intense snowfall taking place as well on the western end. Again, this will feature surging warm air and the cold front swinging in behind, which is going to basically make severe weather possible for all of these areas underneath. So we will be watching that very closely. Again, equally on this frame, we have thunderstorms possible all the way up the East Coast, like we mentioned on the European model. So it's the same exact scenario here. We get quieter just like that European model, but then we see a big time low developing here for northern Missouri, and this is creating a massive snowstorm starting out in Nebraska and the Dakotas, all the way through Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan. This is a far-stretching, heavy snowfall event popping up on this model run. I will tell you to take it with a grain of salt, not only because the range we're at 255 or 58, better yet, hours out there, as you can see. Not only that, this is a trajectory of storm that we have not seen really this winter. We haven't seen these really stretch across from the north like this, just from west to east. This is a very unusual storm track, but that doesn't make it impossible. It's just not really something we've seen a lot of. We do get some snowfall here for southeastern Canada and northeastern America there, as you can see. Now, as we work our way through this model run, we get more snowfall, more of a mixed winter storm here for the northeast, but we do get it regardless. And then we get another kind of moderate snowstorm to add on to those totals for the upper Midwest. We do get a bit of a massive trough, as you can see at the very tail end of this model run here, right around the 27th time frame, with a strong low developing on the eastern end of things. This would create a massive interior eastern United States snowstorm. But take it with a grain of salt, this is extremely far out at this point. As we take a look at that total snowfall here, you could see that there is plentiful amounts of snowfall, according to this model, going to be anticipated in this area. And even as we take a look here at a lot of these, let's take a look at the upper Midwest, shall we? If I can find that view. Here. As you can see, easily 2 to 3 feet here for a lot of these areas in southern Minnesota, northern Iowa, Wisconsin, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and then also stretching across here into the Lower Peninsula of Michigan, portions of Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio there, equally seeing 2 to 3 feet there. So this is pretty similar to that run we saw yesterday, which was this one, except all of that fell in one place here. We see the runs following that. The 18Z we saw quite a bit. The 0Z after that, we also see plenty of snowfall happening here. And then 6Z today is what we were taking a look at, and we see it kind of split apart like this. Um, this was that 0Z run that we took a look at a second ago, and you can see 50, 60, 70 inches in here. So this model has been playing around with some large snowfall amounts here. And in the east, we would be seeing again some snowfall with that stronger storm moving in. It would be more after this point, actually, more like this by time this storm is moving in. But that's at the very end of the model run. We're taking it with a grain of salt, and it's pretty doubtful that that'll actually end up happening how this model is showing it. As we just take a look at the Canadian model real quickly, we do get again some snowfall in there. As we continue this on, we get this major storm across the middle of the nation. And then we get this next storm with severe weather underneath, snowfall on the northern end. That's been the theme with a lot of these storms is just snowfall on the northern end, severe weather on the southern end. And then that activity on this model run about 10 days from now switches to mostly out west, where we have this major storm happening across the four corner states, a lot of the Rockies here. Certainly a very interesting scenario playing out here from this Canadian model for sure as well. Anyway, guys, that's it for this video. I hope it was interesting. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. I also would urge you guys to subscribe as we do upload every single day. We're going to be walking through the upcoming storms and everything happening over the next couple of months together every single day. So be sure to subscribe and even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Also, like the video if you did enjoy it, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.